Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is basically going to be on bed pattern. Okay. Um, this next series, I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. Is basically going to be tutorials on harmonic patterns. Okay. So this is going to be the first video on YouTube I've uploaded since 2016. So yeah, it's been a long time since I uploaded videos on YouTube. So now we want to start again, but now with a series of harmonic patterns. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how I identify a harmonic pattern. All right, and how everybody else identifies a harmonic pattern basically, but the rules of identifying a harmonic pattern, they're the same. Okay, it's just that for me, I use harmonic patterns for specifically a bed pattern for trend reversal. Okay, I use that pattern for trend reversal. So I'm gonna show you guys how I identify it. And today, what we'll be basically focusing on is bearish bed pattern. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how I identify a bearish bed pattern. So first of all, there's to be an impulse. All right, price has to move in a specific direction for us to be able to identify our anchor. Okay, so so impulse. Let's say now we've got a bearish impulse. Right, price is moving down. Okay, if you know this trading terminologies, you will know that's a bearish movement. When you're going down, the market is in a bearish movement. So now here we'll have to identify that bearish movement as our X to A movement, okay? Or X to A leg. Okay, just use the legs for now. Let's not use big terms. So now whenever we do this, what we want to do next is use our Fibonacci tool, all right, to identify the Fibonacci retracement level for a bed pattern. So that how we use it, and pull your fibs from your X leg all the way to your A leg. Okay, you must always make sure that you've got that correctly. You must insert the wicks. If you have to insert the wicks actually. So now from here onwards, what we have to do is identify our B leg, which is our A to B. So our A to B leg, it has to be from this zone here all the way to a 50% retracement, or just a little bit in between the 68.8 and a 50% retracement. This is called the fib zone. Okay, but price should not close above the 61.8 or even touch the 61.8. What I mean by that, guys, is price should stay in this zone. Okay, it should not even touch that area. So something like this will basically invalidate a bad pattern. Okay, something like this will invalidate a bad pattern. Okay, let me just do this. Mm, this will invalidate a bad pattern, although what you want to see is price coming into this zone here, all right, and then coming down to this area here, but your wicks must not touch the 61.8 level. So this can still be valid as long as price doesn't touch that zone. Okay, price must respect that zone. It mustn't touch there. Once it touches that area, then it is invalidated. Okay, now the next step, now that we've identified our X to A and our A to B, the next step is to identify our B leg to our C leg. Now in order for us to do that, you're going to have to measure again from your A leg to your B leg. Okay, guys, you know, to make your life easier, always keep these fibs on. Okay, the X to A leg, always keep them on. No need to remove them. Okay, unless if you are starting out, then you're still battling with, you know, you're getting the confusion. So what you want to do now is take fibs again, then measure from A to B. All right, I hope you guys can see the difference. Okay, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna remove the X to A. Okay, but you're gonna have to go back to using them. So now that's where we are. So we've removed the bigger fibs from our anchor leg. our impulse leg, our X to A leg, whatever terminology you want to use to identify it. So now we are looking for our leg from B to C. Now for B to C, the requirements for that is that price must come at the minimum. Okay, guys, minimum of 38.2. That's the minimum. That's the minimum of our C leg. Okay, so it must come from at least minimum of 30, 38.2, or even it can come down to 50%, can come down to 61.8, it can come down even to 78.6, it can come down to 88.6, it can even retrace all the way to 100%, but price must not go beyond our A leg. Okay, similarly to the B leg, where price mustn't go beyond the 61.8. So it's the same thing. Okay, guys, it's basically the same thing. That's how you identify it. So it mustn't come here. It mustn't, even if you get a week, even if you get something like this there, sorry about that, even if you do get something like price coming and just coming inside and doing this, it will basically invalidate this. It will invalidate that. Okay, it will invalidate that move. Price should not retrace more than 100% of the A leg. Now that we've identified that, we will have to move on to our, now that we've identified our C leg, we now have to, sorry about that, we have to now identify our D leg. Okay, now our D leg, we will have to come back into using our Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so our C leg is already been identified. This is fine. So far, I hope everyone understands. So that's our C leg. Now, the reason why I didn't say, or the reason why I said you guys mustn't remove the Fibonacci from your anchor leg, from your X to A, was because you have to measure from X to A, right? Your X to A, your X to A, okay, and then your C to D leg, it must go as far as 88.6, and that's where your bed pattern will complete. Okay, guys, your bed pattern will complete there. Now, the rule with this one is it doesn't matter, the weeks don't matter. It can, as long as price closes in that area 88.6, that's where it matters. If price can close there, then it's fine, but if price closes above that, then it's also invalidated. Okay, I just hope this makes sense. All right, I hope this makes sense for you guys. Okay, now the next step is where you put in your stop loss and where you put in your take profit. Okay, now remember, this is just a bearish example. The bullish example, we will do it sometime next week. Okay, I will just release one video a week because I don't have that much time. I don't have that much time on my hands. So there's our B leg. Now you can keep the same. That's why the Fibonacci's are so important for from your X to A, because of those Fibonacci's, that they are the ones that will always tell us exactly where to put our stop losses, where to take our profits. So those ones are very important, specifically for the bed pattern. However, a bed pattern is very rare. It's a very rare pattern. It's extremely rare to find in the market, but you have to practice. The more you train your eyes, the better it will be. So you need to train your eyes, guys, in order for you to improve. you know Now, for your take profits and your stop losses, so for your stop losses, we use the Fibonacci extension of the 113. Okay, you can edit your Fib tools, use the 113. And another thing I want to mention is the fact that I don't use my cell phone, because I see a lot of rich traders use cell phones, and I mean, the game has changed now. So I don't use my cell phone to analyze the market. What I do with my cell phone, however, is I track my profits and my losses during the day if I'm not on my trading station. Okay, so now that's how you actually measure them. And now for your stop loss, like I said, if your entry is here on this leg here, your stop loss should be roughly there. Okay, You must always put your stop loss there, and your take profit, your first take profit will always be at the 61.8 retracement. Just hold on for me, let me just do this. 61.8 retracement. Okay, let me just move that. It's going to be at the 61.8. So it's not really much of profit, but once your TP1 is hit, then what you can then do, move your stop loss to break even, and you must go for TP2. Okay. Your TP1 will always be 61.8, all right, and TP2 will be 38.2. Okay, so always move your stop loss to break even when TP1 is hit. But the probability of harmonics, for me, how they've worked out for me is the ratio is a little bit low, you know, for me to be using harmonics. So basically, I use harmonic patterns as an indicator, basically. You know, like how you use your RSI, how you use your MACD, how you use your stochastics. I use harmonics that in that sense as an addition to my trading strategy. This is a reversal pattern for price. I will show you guys examples of it, and that's basically it. I hope everybody understands. Now we can now go to the live charts and see if we can identify some of those examples, okay, that I just mentioned. Obviously, I went through some of these examples and I wanted to show you guys how I actually identify them. So I had to like prepare a little bit for you guys for this. So same will happen with our bullish ones. So I'm gonna show you guys the proper one, and I'm gonna show you guys the ones that have failed, okay, and I'm gonna show you the one that's happening right now, okay, the one that's happening right now as to what really helps me as well with my trading strategy specifically. So I'm gonna remove all this and we're gonna go to the live examples, and I hope everybody got that. So if you didn't get that, you can always look at the video. I mean, that's why I'm actually doing this the video, so you can look at it over and over and over, so you can actually learn from it. So practicing is what it's actually required. So you want to go to AUDCAT. I think I did identify one here on AUDCAT. Okay, now let's AUDCAT. We did have one. Don't mind these lines, guys. Oh, there we go. There it is. There it is right there. So now, okay, let me just remove this and remove all these other ones. So our anchor leg, remember now I'm gonna have to put the alphabets here, so it's gonna be a little bit easier for me to actually place them. Okay, so we're gonna put our X, and then we're gonna put our, always remember it's always going to be X A B C D. Okay, X A B C D. We're gonna do more harmonic patterns in the later stages. X A B C D. Now that we are done there, it's fine. Okay, so I think I've got about 4 examples for you guys. So our X is basically our impulse leg, right? Okay, our impulse leg. Now remember what I said, the requirements for the first leg, basically this is going to be our first leg, right? It's this leg here, from there to there. That's our A, that's our X to A, right? sorry about that, our X to A. Once we've identified our X to A, you need to get your Fib tools, put it there. There's your X to A. Okay, let me just bring it closer so that the fibs can basically line up there. Okay, our X to A, right? Our X to A leg. Now, second thing is to identify our A to B, right? So that's our X leg. Now from X to A, it's our anchor leg, right? Our impulse. So from here, what we want to do is identify our A to B move. So you can just remove the Fibonacci. It's fine if you want to do that. And then use your fib from A to B. Oh, sorry, before we actually get there, I'm sorry guys, before we get there, I actually forgot to mention this. So from there, we have to actually see if it meets the criteria of our B leg. So this move, it does meet the criteria of our B leg. As you can see, it hits the 50% retracement zone, right? So it's hitting our 50% retracement zone. There it is. You can all see that it's clear. So I'm happy with it. I hope everyone just understands. So now our B leg there is valid. Okay, now we can say, okay, we have a valid B leg. Now we are looking for the C leg. Okay, now for the C leg, we're gonna do the same thing. Take your fibs, just pull them from A to B. All right, from A to B. Once you have your A to B, remember the minimum requirement for the C leg to be valid is 30, is basically 38.2. So we can see from here that 8.2, there it is. We have actually hit it. 38.2, we've actually hit it there. So the leg is valid. The leg is valid. Now you can see it went a bit steep, 50%, then went to 61.8, all the way down to 78.6. So it's still valid as long as it doesn't break below the A zone. So this is also a very much valid C leg. So we are happy with that. Now the next step is to identify our D leg. Okay, our D leg. The requirements for our D leg is for our fib zone from X to A to hit the 88.6 zone. So from here to there, we will do that. Okay. Right. So our X is there. Now the next step here is to identify the D leg. The D leg minimum requirement is for it to hit the 88.6. So from here to there, you can see it did hit the 88.6 right on the spot. Okay, and then price reversed. So we do have a valid bet pattern. Okay, this is our valid bet pattern and a valid D leg. So the completion of the bet pattern is there. That's where it has completed. And then there guys, we have a bet pattern. Okay, now take profits and stop losses. Obviously for this one, it was a great trade, because now if you can look at it there, okay, our stop loss, it has to be on that 113 extension. Okay, there you go. I'll use the red for stop loss. And then for TP, our first TP, as I mentioned before, it is going to be 30, maybe a 61.8, right? 61.8. Okay, first TP is 61.8. It's not much. It's like a one-to-one type of trade. All right, and then our second TP is 38.2. Okay, but remember guys, you must always move your trades to break even as soon as TP1 is hit. Okay, move your stop loss to break even to avoid any type of losses. So we are done with this example. This is the first example. the one that succeeded. Now we're gonna go to our next one, our failed one, which is going to be USD CAD. Okay, I think it was USD CAD, if I'm not mistaken. USD CAD. Okay, there we go. There we go. So now on USD CAD, we can clearly see that we also have another one. Okay, so there we go. Let me just remove this. I need to make those ABCs, our X, A, B, C, D, X, A. You can also do this for yourself. You know, it'll like basically just help you out with your practice. Okay. It'll, for me, basically what I normally do, okay, how I first started, I would like literally go and look for maybe 50 bed patterns on different time frames, and from there, just to train my eyes, because after all, you have to train your eyes, guys. Trading is all about training your eyes. So the more you see this pattern, the more you'll be able to identify it. Okay, so now this is like a failed one. Okay, so our anchor leg, there it is. From there, my X to A. All right, always, you must also say these things out to yourself. I know I sound crazy, but this is what I used to do every day. X to A, my X to A. All right, okay, there it is. Okay, and once you've identified your X to A, you're gonna remove this Fib tool. Okay, I'll show you something, and then we're going to look for now our A. Okay, wait, sorry. First of all, let's do this again. I just keep forgetting to do this XA. So we can also see that our A to B leg was actually valid. This was a valid A to B leg. You see, guys, the movement from A to B is valid. It met the first requirement of the B leg. Okay, the requirements for the B leg was met. Now our B to C leg, that's where the problem came about. Okay, so here it is there. Here it is there. Okay, and remember, the minimum requirements for this to happen is minimum 32%. 32, 20, they are 38.2, sorry, 38.2%. Okay, so now from here, from our B, we can clearly see 38.2 was hit. All right, but the price became steeper. So the minute price comes into this area here, this C leg is invalid. Okay, guys, the C leg is invalid. This is no longer a bad pattern. Okay, that's where you guys need to understand this. So even if price does come up and still does something like this, don't try to validate it. This is how people start to lose in trading, and because of now you are validating something that does not necessarily meet the requirements for the specific pattern. So now people do that, they trade out of frustration. So now you've gotten your B2C, your C is invalid. The next step is for you to just leave the trade and look for another trade setup. It's that easy. Now from X to A, if we can just do that, we can see that our C to D leg, or should I say our D leg, did meet the requirements for a bad pattern. However, can we just do that? Our D leg, the requirements for it were there. Okay, the requirements for the D leg was there, the requirements for the B leg was there. It's just now the failure was for the C leg, to meet the requirements. All right, so it failed because of it went below the our anchor leg, our impulse. Okay, that is why this failed. Okay, guys, this is the reason, the only reason why this failed. That's the only reason. Now we're gonna look for another one that people usually trade on. All right, this is what everybody does, as that I don't do. You know, like I said earlier on, a, a bad pattern for me is like a trend reversal type of pattern. It's like a wedge, your head and shoulders, your double tops. So I use a bad pattern for that reason. Okay, now let's look at Euro USD. Okay, now we're gonna look at Euro USD, and I'm gonna show you what is not my ideal type of setup. I'm gonna have to remove all these other charts. I'll analyze the market later on. People can use this as an anchor leg. Okay, so okay, this is our anchor leg, my X to A. Okay, my X to A. Here is my X to A. Now we're gonna use our fib. Okay, the requirement is there for our valid A to B leg. 50%. You see how it didn't come and touch that zone, so it is valid. Okay, so our B leg here is valid, so we're gonna name that is our B leg. So our B leg is valid. The next step is to identify our C leg. Okay, remember our C leg minimum requirement for it. Let's do that. Our A to B, then that's perfect. Minimum requirement for our C leg is 38.2% retracement. So we can clearly see we did come there. We met the requirements. It actually came down as far as coming close to 88.6. So it's still valid. Okay, guys. So our C leg is valid. C leg is valid. Our C leg is valid. Now we are looking for the completion of the bet, which is the D leg. All right. So from my X here to my A at the bottom there, we are looking for 88.6% tracement there. Okay, we didn't quite meet the we didn't meet the requirements for it. So you see, this became invalid. Okay, the minute that happened, it was invalidated. So that's why using harmonics can be such a it can really be tormenting, because now if one leg is invalid, then there's nothing you can do. And some people, you force a trade, so they will force a trade and say no, it's fine, even if it didn't go that far, it's fine. You force a trade, and unfortunately your stop loss becomes bigger than your take profits, because you're gonna have to put your stop loss somewhere here. It's a requirement, and your take profit is here, your stop loss is there. I mean, it's ridiculous. So this is how we people fail, by trying to force trades. You don't force trades, guys. Don't force trade. Don't force trades. Okay. What is this thing now? You don't wanna force trades. I think it was this one. if I am not mistaken, this was the trade. Okay, this is it, KJPY. I am correct. So we will do the same things again, but you see now this. So our anchor leg, our X2. This is how you look for a live trade setup. Okay, this is our X to A. X to A. Okay, guys. X to A leg. This is our X to A leg. So from there, what you want to do is take your fib zone from the X all the way to the wick of A. So you put it there, right? And you can clearly see. You see now, this is a perfect example of what we were talking about, what we were discussing. If you can look very closely there, I want to see something here. What? Oh, clicked on the wrong thing. So I want to ensure that we are basically touching. There we go, right there. Okay, and then the bottom, at the bottom, yeah, it's right there as well. So this is fair. So if you can take a very close look, okay, there you go. So our X to A, from X to A, what we want to do is look for our B leg, okay, our B leg. The criteria for the B leg is the price must retrace to a minimum of 50% but must not go above the 61.8 zone. All right, so from A to B, do we meet that criteria? Yes, we do. If you can take a very close look at this, you will also notice that price doesn't touch that 61.8, so making this a very valid B leg. Okay, so now this B leg is valid. Okay, we have a valid B leg. Our B leg is valid. Now from our A to B, we are now going to be looking for our C leg. Okay, our C leg. Now we wanna have to take our Fibonacci. Do that. Our Fibonacci from our A to B. Okay, from our A to B. So now we're now looking for the retracement, minimum retracement of the 8.2. From here to there, you can see the price did hit there. So now it actually came as close to 88.6. Now the minimum it can go to, now it's here, it's hit this zone here, then this will invalidate our C leg. Okay, now this will validate our C leg, but should price go below that 100%, then our C leg is going to be invalid. Okay, so we can do that. See there. Now the nice thing about certain strategies like the one that I'm using now, and if I'm gonna use Harmonic to complement it, what will then happen is I'm gonna set an alert. Okay, somewhere here, set an alert. Okay, I'm gonna set an alert somewhere there, or somewhere here, actually it's fine, and I will look for an opportunity to buy. When price gets somewhere here, I'll look for an opportunity to buy, and because of I know that there's a harmonic formation taking place, we're looking for now the D leg. All right, we're looking for the D leg. So sorry about that. Now we're looking for the D leg. Now if we're gonna look for the D leg, what must we do? We have to take our fib from our X to A, right? From X to A, and it will only be valid if it hits that zone there, provided that price doesn't come below the zero. All right. So also here I can also put an alert, so to know that if price does close or does come below there, I don't have to be interested in this trade anymore, because now it means I'll be flipping to the downside. Okay, we flip into the downside. So this is about it. But should price go all the way to the zone, then it's going to be quite a decent trade for me to take to the upside, because there are certain patterns that I can see in this specific trade that I wouldn't mind taking. You know, there's more to it than what we actually seeing. So that would complete this harmonic pattern, the D leg. All right, guys, remember that these are just examples of how of a bad pattern. All right, previous data does not determine what's going to happen in the future. We just use that to help us out identify uh potential trading zones. So this, I'm not a financial advisor or anything of that sort. I'm just trying to help out and educate you guys. You know, it's just for educational purpose. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers. This is our first harmonic series video. The next one, and this is a bearish one, right? The next one's gonna be a bullish one. So I will definitely know by the sign of the amount of people that actually view it and like it as to if I should put another one or not. Okay. So thank you guys. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you guys in the next video.